Hey, I got big news, so listen up. There's a price increase coming November 1st. So as of right now, there's never going to be a more affordable time to become a certified life coach with Lumia. So don't miss out on the current pricing. If you've always wanted to be a life coach and you're curious about it, now's the time. Check out the website or book a call to get all the details. See you in class.
This is a special episode of Everything Life Coaching from Lumia. Every year, we invite students and grads to come to South by Southwest in Austin, Texas, and provide coaching to the public. This year, we also decided to ask them some questions about coaching, about how they became coaches, and how coaching has changed them. Special thanks to Marcos Cervantes for these interviews.
Like, asking one question can totally change somebody's entire perspective on something. Asking one question can shift somebody's thinking, their life, the way that they see themselves, and that's like a super powerful moment to be in.
How has coaching changed you?
I think coaching has allowed me to see like the bigger picture and like the gray areas of life that's really not black and white. And it's also allowed me to like connect better to other people and myself.
I've just become a more curious person. And so like I always like come up with like a good question to ask and like see what kind of rabbit hole we can go down. And I'm just like more just interested in hearing people's stories and like not being afraid to just ask. Because the worst thing that can happen is people will be like, oh, I don't want to talk about it. And that's fine. Totally cool.
It's made me so curious about everybody that I talk to. So curious, but it has made me a better listener because I don't feel like I have to talk. I don't feel like I have to say anything. You know, you're listening in a different way. Yeah.
I can see ways that it's changed me just in terms of like work, like conversations that I have with my coworkers, conversations that I have with people that I'm in relationships with, friendships with. It's really, even if I never, this is what I always say, is that even if I never decided to become a life coach, I think doing the program was worth it just because of the impact that it's had on all of those other aspects. It's got really sort of far-reaching tentacles. It's been huge for me, and then also sort of disseminating that information to other people outside of the realm of coaching conversations. Yeah, I think it's changed, it's kind of changed everything.
I mean, it's changed my life already. I'm excited. For so long, I was struggling with what I was going to do, like, quote unquote, professionally, to find that satisfaction, because I have built a beautiful life for myself. I love my relationships. I love my marriage. I've built boundaries with family, so it's all in a good place. And that was always the piece that was missing, was like, what am I supposed to do? I want to figure out like my career path. So coaching has already changed that, because I didn't even know this was a thing a year ago. And now I'm dove head deep into the deep end. Like, this is life-changing. So it's changing my career, what I think is possible for my life.
I think it's allowed me to see how much freedom I can have in my own schedule, in terms of what I want to fill my day with and how I want to go about my life with my own personal time, and setting boundaries, and the healthy boundaries for myself, and not being on that 9 to 5 plus, especially when I was a business owner working like 60 plus hours a week. Now I don't do that, and now I make my own schedule.
I think it's made me a better listener. It's also made me, I think, a better friend, in a way of, is this the moment that I give them advice? Is this the moment that I agree with them and talk shit? Is this the moment that I reflect on them? Where do so I'm not going to coach them, take maybe little moments of like baby nuggets, like I'm going to just like flip that on you real quick. Just for a second. I'm not going to coach you, but I just want you to like hear what you just said.
And then I see the world in a different way, in a different curiosity. I also see people in a different way, with this like potential and beauty and like diversity of thought and individuality that I just maybe didn't have the practice of appreciating quite as much. So now it's regularly a part of what I do is that appreciation for it and a curiosity about who people are and what makes them think.
How has coaching changed you?
Oh my God. I see the world through a different lens. I see the world in a much more curious way. I'm much more mindful of my judgments. And very quickly do I come back to the space of now, like, if I feel triggered, if I'm feeling like judgmental, I'm like, okay, this is saying so much more about me right now than this person that I don't know anything about. So I get curious about going within. What does this mean? How do I respond to it differently?
It's helped me really understand myself and helped me to understand sort of, my own innate superpowers, right?
I think coaching for me, it's made me a better listener, and it's made me see people in a much more beautiful and raw way. I feel like I can actually see the being in front of me or hear the being in front of me in such a deeper level than I've been able to. And I think it also has cracked open things that within myself that has just allowed me to be of service and really be from that heart-centered, service-based place.
I think because of some of the kind of conversational techniques I've learned, especially with listening, I've been able to have conversations with friends where I've been able to hear what they're actually trying to tell me. And so I've found myself in some conversations with people that have been really impactful, that had I not been trained as a coach, I might not have picked up on some things.
In what ways has coaching made you witness change or be a witness to change?
I've witnessed this huge transformation that I'm going through, so it's been incredibly powerful in that way, like my own transformation and my mind change, but also in the small sessions that I've had, just that impact of being a cheerleader for somebody, holding that space, helping them see their life in a different way, and seeing those continued relationships and conversations post coaching is really cool. It's like a nugget or a seed has been planted, and then you're like, oh, I can see this is changing your life too.
Oh gosh, I see it in my clients. I've had clients who I've had for a few years, and at the beginning of the session, they were looking for a career change or looking to have more stability in their lives. And after, multiple sessions, I start to see it happen. And I love the opportunity to, after I've had multiple sessions with the clients, and say, remember when we first met and you were here, and look how far you've come now. I love seeing that. And so it's great whether I have a continuing relationship with a client or a client comes back to me and they're on the next phase of what they're doing. It's just such a magical feeling, and I just feel just so happy for the other person's success.
I had this one client, and she was significantly older than myself, and it was one of those moments I was a little out of my own comfort zone and maybe some doubts there. And at the end of our sessions together, she said, I was really hesitant about working with someone younger, and I got a lot of flack from my friends and all these things, but she said, you have single-handedly changed my life, and I feel that I'm starting over at this new age because of possibilities, because you put things in front of me that I never got to see myself. And I think it was that moment where I realized it doesn't matter where you come from, your background, your age, whatever it might be, this is a modality that has the power to heal people and to support people and uplift the world, as cheesy as that sounds.
People are incredibly resilient, and folks haven't met their future self yet. So when someone starts out on a coaching journey, they have a future vision, a fuzzy vision, an idea of who they might become, what their life might look like, but the soul thread that runs throughout is that you always know how you like to feel. And so when folks start the path on the journey of change and they inch and climb and scrape their way towards that future vision, what anchors them is the way that they feel day in and day out. Is my life getting better? Am I getting better? How do I feel? And then once we get to the intersection of the place where the future vision, which may or may not look exactly like we think it will, intersects with that feeling of holy shit, I'm happy, I'm whole, I'm alive, I'm engaged. It's like soul fireworks.
I think I knew how impactful coaching could be, but I think as I started to actually gain experience witnessing people's growths, I don't think that I realized how impactful coaching is, and truly being able to hold space for people to figure out their own strengths and capabilities, pull out the shadows, but be able to see how strong they are. I think it's just the most amazing thing. And you really have nothing to do with it. It's all on them, but really you just get to be that space holder. And I think that's the most basic definition of what coaching is, but also just, it never ceases to amaze me still to this.
What's one thing about coaching that you discovered that you didn't think you would?
That it's so much more about pulling out the wisdom in the client, and it's not advice giving. It's really like helping other people see their highest potential.
Oh, that it's not counseling or advice giving or any of that. It's really just holding space for people.
Yes,
and I think that's the most powerful part about it. And I think that's where I initially struggled, is that I feel like every session should have an outcome. But like we mentioned, just holding space, bringing people to tears with powerful questioning is a really powerful thing to do.
A lot of when I'm working with people with coaching, there's like figuring out who they are, right? And it looks a little different in everyone, but when all of a sudden you can tell they're standing in their identity and their values, and they swim around it a little bit. Maybe it's like, something that's not quite as solid or as firm, and then all of a sudden it's there. And then you can watch them make a decision within that. And it's like, holy cow, that's pretty cool. Like, you are now your unique person and you've figured out what makes that you, and you stand very confidently in it.
I think the one thing I've discovered is how much self-reflection it takes to do the job. You really have to be centered and kind of check in with yourself in terms of what you're carrying into a session with your clients or the people that you're with, and really kind of continuing to evaluate yourself.
The thing about coaching that I discovered was that I don't have to have answers for anybody. I think the biggest thing that I've discovered is people just need someone to be there for them, to listen. And I already have that in me. And so I think that's the biggest thing is like, people just need somebody to listen to their story, and you just show up for them.
When I sit with my clients and when we talk, that the lessons that they learn are also lessons that I learn, that they teach me as much as I quote unquote teach them. They also give me aha moments in their own discoveries, and I find that it's like sometimes I feel like the universe speaks to me through clients.
That I would really have to coach myself first. Through doing the training program, I feel like I had to do so many kind of deep dives into my motivations and my fears and my expectations. And I feel like I've gone through a whole year of life coaching, self-administered life coaching. Wasn't expecting that.
Coaching is about active listening, about being this guide, not necessarily someone who has all the answers. And the metaphor that I always use with my clients is that I am a Sherpa. I'm not climbing the mountain. My client is climbing the mountain. I just have a backpack with all the tools, and I hand my client the tools so they can either go up the mountain or come down the mountain, whatever phase that they're at.
And make the decision that's best for them.
Exactly, make the decision that's best for them, for sure.
Tell me about a time or a moment when being coached or in a life coaching mindset that you were like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm supposed to be doing?
That just happened yesterday. I've struggled a lot with this process and trying to find my own voice and being confident in that voice, and how I am going to, in turn do that with clients. And with my conversation yesterday, Millie really highlighted, like, trust your intuition, because that is your voice. She's like, you've read enough books, you've done enough things, like, just trust your intuition. And so that was transformational for me.
I just have to say, the way your eyes lit up and the way you smile when you're talking about changing and specifically yourself, it's an awesome thing.
Yeah.
It's an awesome thing to witness.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Somebody used to compliment me and say I was good at my job, and I'd be like, ugh, yeah, but, or I'd make an excuse, or I'd shrug it off. And now I'm just like, thank you. I'm very proud of this. So maybe that's my thing, is I'm on the right path, because when I get that, external validation, or I get that interaction with the world, I'm more proud of it than I ever was before.
That's a big monumental shift in and of itself. Thank you without the disqualification.
Yep, because I wasn't connected to what I was doing before, and even though I was good at it, there's a difference between something when you're, and I've worked with so many people on this recently, but you can do something over and over again because it's easy and you get a lot of validation and you're like, oh, I'm good at that. It's easy, I can do it. But sometimes it's not connected to what you truly, wholly want to do. And I think I've more found that latter, where it's something that I really do. It connects with me. I want to be here.
It's those moments where out of nowhere, a client will tell me, oh my God, you changed my life. I was like, and I'm so humbled by that comment, right? Because I didn't do the work. The client did the work. But it's just that magical feeling and connection that discussion, that, the Sherpa guiding that I've been doing made a difference in that person's life for whatever decision they had to make, whatever path they went on. And it just gives me such a good feeling that, I've touched somebody's life in that way. And again, I just help them see themselves more clearly.
I asked for signs like, am I supposed to be doing this? Is this for me? And yesterday was the yes, it is. I spoke to I coached 4 or 5 different people. And in every moment I had goosebumps literally up and down my body. I was so honored to be talking to each and every one of them, and just to see their faces, and just me being there as a coach for them, and the way that I felt inside was like absolutely, Teresa, you are supposed to be here. This is where you're at. So.
I definitely am not looking to make a big dent in the universe. I am looking just little dents along the way. And I have this saying that I use with my clients a lot. It's like, look, I'm not going to be president of the United States. I'm not going to run for office anywhere. I'm not looking to be a CEO of a company. But the way I'm going to change the world is one human interaction at a time. So every person that I meet, I hope that, my kindness, my empathy towards them is the way that I can up-level humanity one person at a time.
So how do you feel about it in total?
I think coaching is one of the most amazing professions, and it's growing, and it's definitely something to look at and invest in for yourself, or if you're interested, to become a coach as well, because we need more change makers in the world.
There you go. Thank you so much.
We'd like to thank the following coaches for willingly sharing their stories with the world.
Hi, my name is Julia Burge.
Leya Aronoff.
Vanessa Crues.
Bryan Wilson.
Okay.
Barb Matias Haynes.
Kelly Mulaney.
Okay.
Samantha Lawrence.
Shawna Ventimiglia.
My name's Teresa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sarah Bartlett.
Mildred Murillo.